along the workshop, we'll be getting started with the Convex tutorial. And that will basically follow the show, end up with a working application that you can use to base the rest of your hack project on if you want. So if you want to get started, you can go to docs.convex.dev, docs.convex.dev. And so you're doing the tours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Sarah will take over as soon as. All right.
What do you? I guess.
Is there a mic or anything next to you?
I think it's using my computer audio. I guess it's fine. Okay. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm from Convex. So we're, as James said, who is also from Convex, we're gonna kind of go over how to build something on Convex, do the little tutorial like together interactively. My name's Sarah. I was an MIT student not too long ago. I also go by S Shader. So cool. Like the goals here are like convince you to use Convex this weekend, and hopefully like a lot of you can like leave this 30-minute session with like something at least working on Convex. Or, if you decide that you are doing something else with your hack day, hopefully we convince you that we're cool and you should check us out later the next time you're building something. So like, why should you use Convex? Hopefully James's pitch was pretty convincing this morning, but like, it's a database, it stores data, probably whatever application you're building like needs to store some data somewhere on a server. We can be that, and you don't have to like click around a bunch of buttons on like AWS. It's all like JavaScript and TypeScript. So if you're building web or like React Native mobile, you have to do a lot of that stuff anyways. Even if you're not, it's like kind of easier to learn JavaScript and like write code in JavaScript than like write some like fancy SQL one-liner. And it's a platform. So it has like all of these other things that are kind of nicely built in that you like probably need, like authentication or like storing files or scheduling things or search. Cool. So one thing I'm going to just like do as a fun little demo is if you want to visit this link, and let's see, I will also visit this link. Nope. And just show you like something that I built on Convex one day. So if people want to like visit, it's cvx.so/sporkle. And then if you like set a name and then click this first thing, there's this little app, which is like kind of a Sporkle clone. So I can do things like type hydrogen and it shows up. And if you played Sporkle, it's like Sporkle. And the cool thing, if someone joins me, which might not happen, is yeah, you can see other people doing stuff. And this is all built on Convex, and I built it in like less than a day, which is like kind of a fun thing. So cool, like you can do this. And I am storing data somewhere. So I'm storing like all of the quizzes, where I have all of the different like elements, I guess. And then like this is something in like, this is a server that Convex is running for me that like handles all of these different requests. So when you are typing here, these are just like function calls that like interact with this like Convex thing. So, this is just an example of something you could build. And now I'm going to request that anyone who is playing Sporkle, stop playing Sporkle, and instead we're going to like go through the docs and like this tour. So if you want to visit this URL, docs.convex.dev/get started, I'm just going to go through this, and I encourage like if you have a laptop set up to like also do this. If you get stuck, like feel free to raise your hand and we can try and help unblock. But I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do these steps, but I'm mostly going to ask for like y'all to tell me what to do. So yeah, beginning here, what's the first thing that I want to do?
Orbital terminal.
Cool, yeah. So I have a terminal
Let's zoom in.
and yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yes.
What do I want to do now? Feel free to shout things out. Someone said copy, I think. Cool. Yeah, yeah, so this is actually gonna like create a folder for me, but I'll do this one step at a time actually. So I'm gonna clone the repository, and that made a Convex tour chat thing. And now I'm in this repository.
And there's gonna be some folks here who don't have Git installed, and you might not have like Node installed or all sorts of things installed, right? That you might need. And if you go to that page, I think there's a little drop down at the top that'll help you out with that.
But also, if you want to figure out installing and want to just follow along on my screen, that's totally good. I just opened up, or I thought I opened up. I'm just opening this up in an editor because we'll probably want that later. Cool. What do I want to do now?
NPM install.
Great. Someone's awake. What do I want to do now?
NPM run dev.
Thank you. So this is gonna, if you're doing this, it'll probably make you like make an account first. But I already have an account. So it's creating a project and it's doing a bunch of things. That's not really the browser I wanted to open that up in. But I have this little like chat thingy that's now running, and I can do things in it. And I think if I open another tab, I can like see messages on both, and that's kind of cool, I guess. So I'm gonna just voice over real quick like this diagram and kind of like what that command is doing. And actually, one way I might do this is this command is doing like two things actually. One of them is it's running this like front end command, which is like taking all of this like React code that I have here that renders like Convex chat and like picks a random name for me and like has all of this nice UI stuff. And I have this like front end command that's like handling that. And then in parallel, I have this other command. Nope. npx convex dev. And what that's doing is it is taking all of the stuff that I have in this like convex folder here, and like pushing it onto some server that Convex will just like manage for you. So like as an example, if I don't know, if I add some code here, my terminal says like Convex functions ready. And if I open this up here and why? Oh, am I in the wrong one?
And while Sarah's doing that, so like if you can get Git installed and clone the repo and run these commands and run those 3 commands, you'll have a working application, right? Your working application is running stuff on the server, and it's running a website on your laptop. Right? And then so there's some concepts you have to wrap your head around to understand how to work with Convex, but you'll have a starting point. And then the work from now on, Sarah will show the dashboard, etc., is like how to change the server function to do different kinds of queries and write your own application, and how to change the website too to make your own website. You can obviously start from scratch, but this is a pretty basic starting point that you can use and modify.
Okay. I think I opened the wrong one. Okay, there we go. Cool. So you can see all of my log statements, and this will be a little less confusing if you don't have like 20 projects. But yeah, you can see that like when I added that log line, like I get this like updated the configuration thing. So basically like anything that I write here, which is just some like JavaScript, gets like automatically pushed to a server. And then when I access it here, which is like this will give me like all the messages. Not that tab. Like this will log all of these messages for me, which is kind of cool. So yeah, there's like a few moving pieces, and I think this like diagram does a decent job of showing it, where I have like my front end, which is that Veach thing. I have these like use query calls, which is this like client library box, and it talks to like Convex, which can talk to like my database and like load things from like this, and can also do some other things that are next in the tutorial. Cool. And I think this says a lot of the things that I just said verbally, but maybe to show some cool things, if I like add something here, I can just kind of like edit my database here and it'll like sync and show up for everyone. I can like delete that message and like same thing. I can like run all of my functions and I can like see all of the functions that got like I can see my log statement that I added and interact with all of this here. So I can like do cool things here. Let's see. Let's go through this, like implement a mini feature, automatic smileys. So every time that, like, if I want to make hi with like a smiley face, instead show like the smiley emoji. I guess what's like one way that I could do this? Any ideas of like code that I could change?
If you want to make the actual emoji show up instead of the smiley.
Yeah. Feel free to shout out.
You can type an ice written and then replace it with the Unicode character for the smiley.
Yeah. Where would I write that code? Yeah. So I guess there's like two places I could write it. I could write it on like on my front end and just like do a find replace for like :paren for like the smiley face. Or I could write basically the same code in here. So I have like my messages and I can do like messages with smileys. And I'm using cursor, which is actually pretty magical. I think it might want me to escape this. So I'm just going through all of my messages, which are things that I've loaded from my table, and I'm replacing :smiley or :paren with the like smiley face character. And I like to check that this thing has like the green check mark and looks pretty happy. And then this seems unhappy. This is the other thing that I like to look at. Okay, I see. I'm not gonna like totally live debug, but this is like the thing that I was missing. I was not actually returning the message. And I think it'll get happier now, hopefully. Yeah, so I have this like high smiley face. And it's working. Yay. I can make it replace for like some other emoji if I want. I don't know, random emoji.
Like, to state the obvious, Convex just doesn't have to, you have to write a chat app, right? This is just a demo, right? You can do anything with the stuff, but there's this really core concept that you'll struggle with Convex if you don't wrap your head around, like, there's some stuff runs on the server. That's the thing Sarah was just changing. And then there's your website runs on the client, right? And they're two separate things that are running.
Yeah, so the other way that I could have done this is like, just to go back to what it was before, is like, I could have just done all of this in like my client code. Like all of this is the stuff running on the server, but I could have said that like, yeah. Yeah, I could do this here and wherever. So this is like here in the UI where I'm saying like, oh, highlight it a different color if it's my message and just do the body. And it like has the same effect. So it's like really fluid to like change where you write this code because it's all JavaScript. And if you're building a web app already, you probably have to write some JavaScript anyways. I'm gonna go back to the other way of doing this.
Is there any advantages or disadvantages for JavaScript versus TypeScript for Convex?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of TypeScript and you get like a lot of nice type safety here. So like, for instance, the place where we're calling the function is right here. And the path of the function is basically like your file structure. So this is saying I want something in like the messages file, and it's called list. And because I'm passing it to use query, it needs to use this like query function that is generated for you. And for instance, you can't use query with something that's like a mutation. Queries are like read-only things and they're reactive, which gives that nice like live updating across tabs. And mutations are like read and write. So like sending a message is a mutation. And one of the nice like TypeScript things is like, if like this just auto completes for me. And if I do like something else, it'll be like, what are you doing? Like you don't have a file called foo. Or if I like typo and I say like, I want to use send, it'll be like, oh, this like expects a mutation, but you gave me like a query. So I like personally recommend the TypeScript experience. I think it's pretty good. And if you use JavaScript, like the code looks the same, you just don't get as much of the nice, like, hey, you are doing something invalid.
If you only familiar with JavaScript, that's fine, right? And you can learn TypeScript straight away because it's basically the same stuff, really. But yeah, it's more
it's like
ergonomic.
all the same code, but like TypeScript gives you some more like nice protections. But it also sometimes just gives you like nasty error messages that you need to figure out. But
Sarah, I wonder if it'd be helpful to discuss the two programs you're running right now in the back, the two scripts you're running.
yeah,
These two, yeah.
yeah.
I keep going back to the basics just in case anyone's like missing them, because that might be the stuff that could get confusing, right? So there's Sarah's running these two scripts. One on the left there is running the local web server. This is just rendering the website. right? So if you later on hosted that website on Vercel or Netlify or something, it'd be hosted on the internet. Right now, that website is running off your laptop. And then that second command, all that's doing is syncing changes you made to your files to Convex. You can kill that command if you want it. It will still work. That's just like that's live syncing any changes to the server.
Yeah, so if I like kill this one, that's my front end. I think these links won't work because I'm like not telling it to render my front end. But if I kill this one, my app will still work. Should still work. Excuse me. And it'll like do all the things. But just now, if I make any changes to my Convex directory, they won't sync until I like turn that command back on. Like, I don't know if I want to render an apple now. This isn't doing anything, and there's still croissants in my UI. But as soon as I turn this back on, it does this like, it did it real fast, but it like pushes your code and says Convex functions ready. And you can like see everything that's on that server in here. So like I can see my little apple now. And when I list it out, I see the apple. You have more you want to say?
So yeah.
Okay. Let's see. We will try and go through maybe one of these like more involved. Okay. We're gonna go like partially through this, but I don't. Okay. We could go through this, or I could just like tape any questions that y'all have, because we have like 5 minutes remaining. So I guess if people have like questions, ask them now. Otherwise, I will find something to do with my time. Yeah.
So for, if you're trying to do something with real live tracking, like real time location tracking or like live location tracking, which function, like, which, I would say functionalities you recommend looking into from the docs?
Yeah, so this is like you have like some sort of like your phone is tracking your location or something. So probably you need this like external thing that like knows your location to call into Convex, and you want to like store that location like in one of these tables so that you can, you want to store it in like one of these tables, and then like once it is in one of these tables, you can do use query and like see everyone's locations, and it will all just like live update for you. But to like get the location in there, or if you're like, I think someone was talking about like you text a number and you want to like grab that text and store it. If you're interacting with something third party, there's this other thing that I don't totally have enough time to talk about, called an action. So like queries and mutations have to be like, they're pretty restrictive and they can't talk to like the outside world. And it's one of the things that lets us do those like live updates and like guaranteeing that we only run your mutation like exactly once. So like if you send a message, you'll never get like the message just disappearing or like the message appearing twice, which I'm sure you've seen in like other apps. But if you want to like talk to the outside world and like, I don't know, talk to some API that like gives you a location, you have to use an action and then take that result and like use a mutation from that action to write it into the database. And there are examples of this. Like if you go fully through the tutorial, this is one that talks to Together AI to get like a response from Together AI and then sticks it in as like into that messages table.
The high level is you'll have some client code just continually calling mutations saying your location. Then it's on Convex, and then you can build whatever you want on top of that afterwards. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
For this hackathon, would you recommend that we use Convex with React plus Vite, or would you recommend we use it with Next.js?
I would personally say React and Vite, unless you like really love Next.js and you've used it before.
Yeah.
I think it's just simpler.
So if you're like, some people don't know what Next.js is, and that's fine. If you are a Next.js person, you have to deal with the differences between server-side rendering and client rendering, and it gets a bit messy under certain circumstances, and people like have an app that works when they hit refresh and it doesn't, for example. That's more of a Next thing. There's nothing to do with
Yeah.
Convex, but Vite is more simple. Yeah.
But if you've used Next before and you love it, like go ahead, it should work. Question in the back.
So how does like teamwork work with Convex? Because like say you push to a GitHub repository and then everyone else pulls. Will they each have their own like dev environment? And how do you make sure you have like a centralized?
Yeah, let's see. I'll show maybe one of these other projects. Yeah, so I guess this is like maybe slightly private information. This is like a little like website we built internally that just shows us like which services we've pushed. And every person has their own like development environment. So this is my personal development one, and I can make any changes I want and test them out there. And like some of my teammates also have dev environments. And then there is like a single per project like production environment. And like this is the one that you like, this is the one that you deploy to, and we have like instructions on how to set up hosting. But like probably what you do is you and your teammates all like share the same project, and you have your own like dev environments. And then like periodically when you like merge to main or whatever, you get like everything to work together on the like production one.
I think it would be fine in a hackathon if you wanted to, just to be doing all the work in prod.
Yeah,
It would work. I mean, it's not the best flow, but then you can all see each other's data, and you can, you can be interacting live, basically.
I will point out that like if you have two people running this like npx convex dev command and they're like trying to talk to like the same deployment, they just will like clobber each other's changes. So if you have multiple people running this command, either like use two separate deployments or like just have one person running it, and then you're like committing to like some branch that someone's always pulling.
You'll need Convex Pro to have more than 2 people per team,
Mhm.
and it's code in the Discord. Or we give,
I will go for you because you haven't asked something yet.
Does Convex like provide assistance with doing in development with React? I saw like a lot of like the data with bases, but is there like something for buttons?
Yeah, so we don't have like a ton of like built-in like front-end libraries. Like the main things we have is we have these nice React integrations where like use query and use mutation kind of just like do the thing that you want, and like React will take care of the live updating. The things that I would recommend for just like speeding up your front-end development, so if you follow like, I think one of these quick starts, and if you do this, it'll like show you some of these libraries, but there's something called ShadCN and Tailwind. ShadCN is like a component library, so you can get like a bunch of kind of like nice looking components. I'm not really like a UI person, so this makes it like really easy for me, where it's like, oh, I want like, I don't know, I want a button that doesn't look like crap, or I want like a nice checkbox. Okay, cool. I've successfully stalled. We'll be here in person though, so.
we're at our booth, we'll be around. Take a look at those docs, because there's concepts